Well, hey, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to this special edition of the John Campea Show. We've got your Batman Beyond crew back together again. The whole band is back. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, man.
I'm in John's chair.
When the John's away, the mice will play. And we are going to have a great show for you today. Thanks so much for being here, where we're going to talk about all kinds of good things, movie news, streaming news, video games, whatever you guys want to talk about, because essentially we're your cruise directors. We're going to offer you some excursions. You're going to tell us what you want to talk about later on today.
Can I be Julie? Can I be Julie?
Is this another Love Boat reference?
Love Boat
That's
reference?
two Love Boat references
Damn.
in 2 days.
By the way, did you get my email right?
Oh, no.
Drink, everybody. All right.
Exciting and new.
Well, we are, of course, joined by Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, talking to us about the Love Boat
Come
and all kinds of
aboard.
great things.
We're expecting you.
We've got Ray Ora here.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
We've got Jonathan Voica.
Good morning, everybody.
And you got me. I'm Chris Carr. Thanks so much for being here. Now, you've got a couple different ways you can watch this. You can always watch this on the podcatcher of your choice. You can watch this live with us on YouTube or the replay, or you can always send in questions and tips later on to streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Started to say chip. I was doing so well, and then blah, 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 blah. Now, you can always send in a question, and if we deem it appropriate, we will answer it on this show, all right? If it's inappropriate, we'll just all read it to ourselves over here and giggle.
Yeah.
All right? But that's not going to be live. With all that down, guys, we've got a bunch of things to chat about, so let's dive right in. We've got a brand new trailer from A24 on the smashing machine, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, taking on what appears to be probably one of the most exciting roles he has signed up for to date. We are seeing some potential real acting chops with him going toe-to-toe, not only in the ring UFC style, but with a wonderful collaborator of hers, his Emily Blunt, who he has amazing chemistry with. It made Jungle Cruise palatable to see those two together. Love this. So we all watched this trailer. This is a really exciting looking film that's looking at the UFC legend Mark Kerr in Benny Siddif's biopic from A24, kind of chronicling his rise in UFC, his addiction issues. This just has kind of that A24 awards buzz, kind of logline buzz all around it. And in this trailer, The Rock really does transform. You see him really, really looking like Mark Kerr, really stepping into the role, and kind of, this is what I find interesting as a wrestling fan. The Rock, we always see win, right? For the most part, we always see him win. He's always doing great. And it's really interesting to see him giving as good as he can get and everything, but also getting pummeled himself. We're seeing him take those hits. We're seeing him take those licks. And this is going to be, I think, a really interesting and violent and heartbreaking story. That's just how I felt about watching the trailer. Rob, when you checked this out, what did you feel?
Well, I'm a Dwayne Johnson fan. And look, when I saw Michael Bay's Pain and Gain, I was surprised by the performance he delivered. I've enjoyed him. I mean, obviously he has a persona that he plays into, but I think if you brought up Jungle Cruise or Guilty Pleasure, San Andreas. I'm saying it's.
Oh, I love San Andreas.
Right?
I got the 3D DVD of that.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Blu-ray.
That's
Are you telling
awesome.
me You have a Blu-ray?
Well, I used to play it on
You
my.
have physical media? Does John know?
Yeah, he
Wow.
does.
Keeps it in a bunker.
Yeah, that's what's. But no, I'm a big fan of his, and to see him sort of stretch. And look, everybody wants to make an A24 movie today. Get that awards buzz cooking, as you just pointed out. I'll watch this. I think it looks terrific. So, I wasn't expecting to have this on my radar or something I wanted to see, but like I said, I'm literally a card-carrying A24 fan.
It's
There you
true.
go.
I love when The Rock actually takes on these roles because he's always on the popcorn flicks, playing himself, right?
Yeah.
It's very nice to see him in a role like this. I had to do a double take. That does not look like him. I mean, if you really look, you can find similarities.
Yeah, there's some
but
prosthetics there.
got
on his
different-
face.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen the Otoy Unification Star Trek film they made. They're using prosthetics and they're using real-time CG. I don't know.
That's what I was
they're
thinking.
doing.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
because his body is
it's,
not.
It's unbelievable what they're able to
Wow.
do now, and we're going to see more and more of that. And the way he looked in this reminded me of. Go look up Otoy's Unification. I think it's unlisted on YouTube, but check it out. You can see how they created Spock and.
Rad.
I would say even his voice acting in this, because Mark Kerr did speak with a little bit of a higher pitch voice,
Right.
for such a big guy, and he's not quite there, but that's a higher pitched voice than you normally hear from The Rock. Usually
mean,
he's
he's-
like, "Oh yeah, you got anything better than Advil?" Hey,
Yeah.
you know. But now it's like he's lightening it up. So it seems like he got into the character. I mean, there's a documentary of the same name, The Smashing Machine, which is
Okay.
pretty good. So I'm
Is it
assuming
about
they
the same?
took it's all about Mark Kerr. So I'm assuming it inspired the film.
That makes sense.
He's committed.
Yeah, I love that he's expanding his acting a bit, or attempting to, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, one thing I'd like to point out, I'm a big boxing fan, so it was great to see the heavyweight champion there, Alexander.
Yeah,
Usyk.
a lot of guys that were like playing themselves. Or I don't know if they're playing themselves, but they're in there.
I wanted to ask you about that, Ray, because you know way more about this world than I do.
Well, I know there's the boxing champ. He's there, and also
Baz
Baz
Rutten,
Rutten,
yeah.
and then also Ryan Bader. I don't know if Ryan Bader. See, that's where it throws me off a little bit because Mark Kerr. I don't believe Ryan Bader was fighting during the time Mark Kerr started because he was one of the original.
He was
UFC
early,
fighters, right?
early. Yeah.
So maybe Ryan Bader's playing someone else. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where.
I think they are playing other people because I just don't see how Baz Rutten plays
Yeah.
himself
I
at
don't
that
see how
time because he's so much older now. You know what I mean?
Well, what's funny to point out too is that The Rock before in his previous movies, he always had the same actress. I don't know her name though, but it was always her. It feels like Emily Blunt is taking over that actress's spot. If I knew her name, she was the actress in Witch Mountain. She was the wife in San Andreas. It was all played by the same actress.
The one who's in Sin City as well.
Yeah, she was in Sin City.
Of course,
But
and Rob
yeah,
knows her too.
That was
Yeah.
her. That was his.
Chat, help us out. Why are we blanking on her name?
Yeah, they
Come
used
on.
her.
It's
like-
Carla Gugino.
Yeah. So
Who,
like,
by the way, can do no wrong. Silk
She's
Spectre
incredible.
#1.
Yes. Oh man.
And in Mike and Flanagan's Haunting of Hill House, she was great in that. She's like one of the sexiest.
What was that other one? Gerard's Game? Or Gerald's Game?
yeah,
Gerald's Game.
Gerald's
There
Game.
we go. Gerald's Game.
That's
Yeah.
that's the thing I was thinking
yeah.
of too. It's like,
That movie was messed up.
you did a review of Haunted of Hill House, right, Chris? Your favorite?
oh yeah,
No.
don't you like watch
Don't
it every
you?
Friday?
Aren't you doing an in-depth review this Friday?
So actually, Logan tried to watch that show slowly but surely, and so every now and then, while I'm in the other room watching my Pokemon, he would just be like, "Ah!"
yeah, that show freaked me out a
Be
little.
great
man,
drum
it was
scare.
awesome.
I thought you guys did it at the 3 a.m. at the witching hour. Like
That's when I wake up, Jonathan.
oh, that's true.
That's when I go walk my dog.
It's the witching hour. I wake up.
I gotta start my day and sing to the birds. Well, guys, let us know how you feel about this trailer. Do you feel like The Rock really transformed for this one? Or are you getting the same kind of vibes? Or it doesn't matter what you say. Let us know. All right.
Oh, we did it.
Yeah,
Wow.
We got there. We did it.
Wow.
All right, y'all. Let's move on.
And that will do it.
And now I'm out. Thank you so much. It's been fun.
A level 4
Let's
naughty
move on to
lister?
our next topic, though. We've got another remake of Miami Vice in the works. So, Miami Vice is going to be remade by Top Gun Maverick director Joseph Kosinski. Now, this is coming to us from our friends over at Variety, saying that Top Gun Maverick filmmaker Joseph Kosinski is set to direct a Miami Vice remake for Universal Pictures. Dan Gilroy, of course, of Nightcrawler and the Bourne Legacy fame, is adapting the screenplay. Though plot details haven't been revealed, the movie is based on the 1980s TV series starring Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas as undercover detectives in South Florida. The Neon Huge show ran on NBC for 5 seasons from 1984 to 1989. A film version was first attempted in 2006 with Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell leading the cast. I never caught that one. Did you guys watch that?
Attempted. It rules.
Does it rule?
When this story came along, our show notes, I'm like,
Yeah.
Rob's gonna go off on that.
I mean, look, man. It is Michael Mann's
There you
most
go.
underrated movie, with the possible exception of the director's cut of Black Hat, which is on Arrow, and you should check it out because it's a lot better than you remember. But Miami Vice kicks ass. I mean, Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell were great as Crockett and
Yes,
Tubbs.
I even had this prepped because I
Gong
knew.
Lee, I haven't prepped it.
No, I said I had
Jonathan
this picture.
did.
I had this
He was
picture
ready to
prepped because I
go.
knew you were gonna go off.
Oh my God, do I love this movie? It's, I mean, it is. I love the language. And by the way, there are some people that will tell you that they prefer the theatrical cut that just opens with Jay-Z and what Lincoln is it Linkin Park's "Numb."
Right.
Or is that Linkin Park and Jay-Z's?
yeah.
Which is a great song, by the way. Do 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 do. Awesome. I prefer the director's cut that opens with the cigarette boat race regatta, in the middle of Miami Harbor, whatever that
Okay.
is. A lot of people don't like that, but I like that boat race, and I think it begins quite well.
Well, since
I
I've never
understand
seen it,
people
I'll
just
watch
like
it.
jumping into the action.
I
That's
just
fair.
I will give it another shot, but I just felt the narrative clarity on that film. I'm like, what are they trying to accomplish in this movie? Like, what is the plot?
It's got one of the great sound designed gun battles at the end.
Oh.
You just pointed out something,
I'm a fiend for mojitos.
and my mind is blown right now. Every time I hear this Top Gun director's name, it's Joseph
Kaczynski.
Kaczynski. I automatically think of Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Obviously, the 40X, and how he's doing F1, right?
Yep.
40X, and I forgot Miami Vice has boats.
You're gonna be on
40X,
that 40?
land, sea, and air.
Dude.
He's doing all three.
Okay, well,
then,
Oh, see,
Okay.
I think Miami Vice predates, although I will say this, I do have a banging Miami Vice steelbook
What?
that came
I'm
out a couple
shocked.
years ago. I know.
So
What,
the-
you?
I know. I'm telling you. And,
I should-
and Michael Mann he pioneered using Viper cameras, video cameras,
Mm-hmm.
because he wanted to, quote, see into the night. And that's what he did on Collateral. Well, he perfected that.
was
I
great.
mean, let me just tell you, Miami Vice is a beautiful looking film, even though it was shot on, technically, it was digitally captured.
I do have to bring up though that it grossed 165 and the budget was 135, so this did not
Hey,
do well.
you know what? Not
that
all
doesn't-
greatness can be measured in dollars.
Sure,
Oh,
but when
man.
you're looking at doing a remake of a film, and you had the last remake, decidedly quite a while ago, not do well, do you think that there is still a want and desire for a Miami Vice film? Do you think people are really into this? Because Top Gun, we did have that kind of nostalgia ping, and that was such a classic film that people gravitated towards that, but then other folks who never saw the original film or anything also really vibed with it. Do you think that same kind of effect can happen for a new Miami Vice?
I mean, it's a good question. Miami Vice is literally 40 years old now. And do people remember it? It was such a iconic. I mean, the actors alone that appeared in Miami Vice episodes.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
has it has a murderer's row of actors. Everybody from Julia Roberts to Bruce Willis. I mean, everybody appeared in.
It was the
Miami
Love
Vice.
Boat of its time.
It was. It was.
Truly.
It's time. But and the music too. I mean, the use of "In the Air Tonight." You can
Oh,
still
dude,
go to
yeah.
YouTube and just go Miami Vice "In the Air
That
Tonight."
theme is great.
And you just get it. They're just driving to "In the Air
Well,
Tonight."
that show was really it was for the MTV generation. Like that's what they were going for.
I mean, Sir Mix-a-Lot would not have sung his song "My Testarossa" if there was no Miami Vice. I'm just saying. Yeah, would they not sung? Would you say rap?
okay, we
Rats,
mix on when
yeah.
you reference Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Come on, man. I'm from Seattle. We got Macklemore and we got Mix-a-Lot. Macklemore's dead to
No,
me.
but-
Mix-a-Lot will always be
Mix-a-Lot is always
my
alive
heart.
in our
My
hearts.
Hoopty,
Yeah.
Posse on Broadway.
But this director seems to be going for a lot of action with what he has done and what he's doing in the future. I mean, F1 is really good.
Kaczynski, I mean, look, I liked Oblivion.
I
Tron
liked
Legacy.
Oblivion as well. That's the one with Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
and
no, I
Top
like
Gun
that movie.
Maverick and F1, and he did the Firefighter movie.
Firefighter.
Yeah, the Firefighter movie. I think
Only
Josh-
the Brave?
Only the Brave, the Firefighter movie.
Although every time I see Kaczynski, I feel like is he related to Matthew Modine in some way?
Seems like it, right?
Yeah.
They have very similar faces.
Yeah.
Who I wanted to be our SAG president. Love Matthew Modine. Do you guys think that because of his collaborations with Tom Cruise, we could expect some kind of cameo from him in this? Or small role?
That's a good question.
What if
Oh,
he plays?
man.
He's actually the main actor.
He could play Castillo.
Ooh.
As a matter of fact, you could bring Edward James Olmos back to play Castillo.
That's true.
He could
You
still
could.
kick ass.
You could.
Do you know that there's an actual like ninja episode of Miami Vice?
No, because I've only seen things in syndication. Because
Well, you
this is a
know.
little before my time, so my mom would watch reruns.
I do have the entire series on Blu-ray, and you could watch it all. If you
Oh,
want.
dude, let's go.
It'll be interesting to see who he casts as, or who they cast
Do we
as
get
the-
Don
Yeah,
Johnson
it really
back in
comes
this?
down to-
Or does Brad Pitt
Yeah.
play Don Johnson's role? Since he was just in F1, would Brad Pitt play that role really well?
You know what? He's older than
Yeah,
Crockett
that's what
is,
I'm saying. Is he going to go younger or older?
But Brad
Ooh.
Pitt could play a Crockett.
yeah, I could see him playing a Crockett.
I don't think their age is that far apart.
No.
No. Well, and how important is it to have, kind of
Shit, man, you
detectives
could
who
get
know?
Jamie Foxx to come back and play Tubbs with Brad Pitt as Crockett.
I personally
I
would
wouldn't
go.
be mad about it.
I
I
personally
It'd
would
be
go
like
with
across
younger.
the Spider-Verse of Miami Vice. It's like, oh, I'm the Crockett in this world.
Yeah.
Rob, would you
Jamie
616.
Foxx was great as Tubbs.
Would you rather them go older in the cast, like older or like more of a younger? What would you prefer?
But you know what the thing is? The thing is, younger actors. If you were to cast actors of today that were the same age as Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas,
Right,
they would seem too young.
right. They would.
Actors today are too. They're too. I mean, if you cast actors in their mid-30s, they seem too
Right.
young.
You know, in the 70s, a lot of people had city miles on them. And
They did.
Well, a lot of people smoke and drink for
yeah,
breakfast.
exactly.
And that aged
we
them
were
real quick.
Yeah, I
mean,
have
go back
family
and
members
watch
who were
the
having
original-
parliaments with their orange juice. You know what I mean? So
The original taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which is a great movie. I don't think there's an attractive person amongst the cast of thousands. They all look like great New York faces, led by the great Walter Matthau.
I mean, yeah.
heartthrob.
So the-
He was the best looking guy in that movie.
Babe, awooga. For this movie to work, though. All right. For a Miami Vice film to actually work well and theoretically make some money, what do you all need from this? Because again, this is something that I did not watch regularly. I don't have that connection to. What would you want from this to have it succeed as a Miami Vice film for you personally?
You need to have the band Polyphia redo the Miami Vice, Jan Hammer's Miami Vice theme with all electric,
that's it. That's
shred electric guitars.
Okay.
Because that would get the kids in.
Yeah, for me, it would be. We don't get a lot of cool boat chasing movies or boat action. Make it like be a big part of it. Like
Okay.
do the Fast and the Furious, but on boats, and make it 40x, a 40x worthy, and that would work for
Ray
me.
is already ready.
Because 40x, they'll splash water on you. They have no shame.
Oh, yeah.
They'll have no
Also,
shame.
I mean, the real thing about Miami Vice was it was really, about the drug trade.
Right.
Yeah.
In Miami. What you need to do is popularize cocaine again and get good fentanyl-free cocaine and flood
Yeah.
the United States with it.
Make cocaine
And
great again.
Make cocaine great again. And
Yeah.
that will make Miami Vice a viable film that will become topical.
Make Cocaine Great Again is not part of this show or any of its
Makaga.
other people's thoughts, feelings, or
Makaga.
concerns.
So anyone holding kilos of cocaine, hold on to it, because when Miami Vice comes out,
Your stock's going
Your
to go
stock is going
way
way
up.
up. That's true.
I mean,
in this
but-
economy, you should hold on to
But
it.
in all seriousness, that was what the show really was
Yeah, it
about.
Of course it
Yeah.
was.
It was
Yeah.
a drug
It was on the heels of Brian De Palma's Scarface,
Yeah.
and it was in the Rush. It goes the yayo. I mean, Rush. I'm sorry.
Obviously,
Little Blondie.
Well,
do
what-
we
what
need
was-
to change the drugs then for a modern audience?
But that would be no fun anymore.
that's what I was going to ask. Do they get with what is going on right now, or do they pretend that none of it's like? Do they go from cocaine to what, fentanyl, whatever?
Well, that's
whatever.
the problem. What do you do?
I know. The chemistry between the two is very important.
See,
as well.
because
Absolutely.
The problem is that I was just going to say the problem is that none of those drugs are like quote unquote sexy.
No.
Whereas like the whole thing with cocaine is like you could think of like people in a club dancing and everything, whatever, and like sheer dresses and this and that. But like fentanyl, it's like just people missing teeth and like they're just depressed and
Or
like
like
they lost their
teenagers
job
overdosing.
and they're losing weight rapidly. It's like there's nothing sexy.
Maybe it's
about that.
Ozempic. They're bringing in
Maybe.
super Ozempic.
Or this could be a period piece, right? That we had that suggested in the chat too of sci-fi extremists saying maybe this is set in the time of that
that'd
early
be great.
80s
But
kind
then
of
it'll end up,
situation.
the thing is, look, one of the great things about Miami Vice were the fashions. When you're wearing Gennaro loafers without socks and you've got peach-colored T-shirts over a nice linen jacket.
Yeah, man.
I love the fashions of Miami Vice. There's pictures of me trying to emulate those fashions back
Oh,
in
I
the
know.
day.
Ray thinks they're the coolest, where he calls you Zach Morrison.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know if that would work today.
There are quite a few shots of Rob in a Laserdisc shop that I'm like, that is a handsome man.
Yeah, handsome man. Oh, Pound Town Daily, a passenger. On that Pound Town train.
Wow.
From Warner Brothers lot to the Pound Town station.
Hey, we have other news topics.
Okay,
Yeah, we do.
Wow, Miami Vice.
guys.
Well, what a big topic that
it was a really big topic.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Put
Let
it in
us
the comments
know.
below.
Yeah, talk to us about whether or not you feel Miami Vice is set for a reboot, or if you are not feeling this one, let us know. All right. Now, still some Top Gun Maverick adjacent news.
Yeah, we're
there
sticking
you
with
go.
We're
the oldies
sticking
here.
with it. We've got a kind of a nice bit of synergy here today. We've got another bit of lawsuit news.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Dun 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 dun. That's my people's court.
I love it. We need
Or is
to
that
be
Judge
a
Judy?
going-
Something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
So this comes from everybody over on IndieWire. 3 years after Top Gun Maverick was released, and its script is now at the center of a lawsuit. Visual effects artist Sean Gray, who has collaborated with Top Gun Maverick screenwriter and cousin Eric Singer on 2 other films, according to his IMDb profile, which we know is always very accurate, good reporting, has sued Paramount Pictures, claiming he wrote at least a dozen Maverick action scenes without credit or compensation. Gray alleged that he worked on the script for 5 months with singer and director Joseph Kosinski. Singer, Christopher McQuarrie, and Erin Kruger have writing credits to the feature and have recently reunited for Apple Film F1, with Peter Craig and Justin Marks listed with a story by credit. Top Gun Maverick, of course, was Oscar nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay after being released in 2022. Now, the action that he's seeking here is to essentially demand accountability from the defendants that profited, supposedly, by misappropriating Gray's creative work. So, how are we feeling about this information, y'all? Do we have any smoke around here and think there's fire? Is this all much ado about nothing? Rob, what do you make of this?
Well, first of all, this comes back to the adage that I like to quote often. It's not about what you deserve, it's about what you negotiate. And when you are working on a WGA project, which all Paramount movies are, if you expect to get some kind of compensation or some kind of recognition, you need a contract to that effect, and you need to negotiate this beforehand. Just because you're spitballing ideas with a director, I mean, I've spitballed ideas with big directors over, lunch. We've spent an entire summer coming up with a whole idea for a pitch for a movie. That doesn't mean I deserve anything. And the thing is, this script was being developed by many other writers over the years, not just the credited writers who did get credit. I think 3 writers get credit on this. That's not how it works in this business. And look, if you've got a story, they say he's got a story credit on F1. Why jeopardize what could be a great career move? If you know Joe Kosinski, and clearly you do, and you've got a relationship with him, and you've worked your way up to getting a story credit on F1, why not concentrate on that? All you're doing is creating bad blood in the industry for yourself. If you didn't have a contract to write anything on Top Gun, if when the scripts went to arbitration with the WGA, if your name never appeared on any of that material, you don't deserve a credit. That's just the way it works. So I would say this is a frivolous lawsuit. It's kind of silly that they're doing it, especially in the wake of F1 coming out, which looks to be one of the biggest movies of the summer.
Yeah.
But, you can drag a horse to water, but if they're stubborn, they'll still die of thirst right in the middle of the desert.
True. Now, it is worth bringing up, too, that a source close to Top Gun Maverick deemed the lawsuit to be a family dispute between Singer and Gray, and they don't feel it's a legitimate claim, actually, against Paramount, saying, quote, Gray is referred to as Singer's Top Gun Maverick writing assistant by the source. Singer is listed as having worked with Gray on Only the Brave, which Krasinski also directed, and Gray is listed as an uncredited writing consultant on IMDb, and is also billed as Singer's writing assistant on The International. If you guys also do remember, there was another lawsuit brought against Top Gun about a 1983 article that had been written that they were saying the new film took from. That was dismissed back in 2024 as well, and Paramount is very confident that this is going to be dismissed too by the courts.
I had a question. Do these lawsuits, similar to this, if any, do they usually come so much after the movie's been released and played over again? So now on streaming, I mean, it's how long has it been since the Maverick come?
They may have been in dispute for years.
Oh,
a couple years.
okay.
True.
And then he's finally like, well, I'm just going to have to go to a lawyer.
Because
Yeah.
from a regular person who's just reading this, it's like, oh, why now? It's like, so maybe they
You
will.
also you don't know who's speaking in their ear.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So years later, someone's like, "Hey, man, this and that. You did it."
Right.
You
And then
worked
they're
on
like,
this.
oh, right.
Because that's what Paramount has argued with the previous case, at least, too, was this is just coming off of the heels of Top Gun Maverick's success.
Right.
You are now saying that we owe you money. You are now trying to claim this as your own. That smells a little fishy to us. We don't think you actually had this real involvement. We think you're chasing after dollars that you didn't necessarily earn, which does feel like what this is here.
Look, anybody puts their uncredited credit up on IMDb is immediately suspect anyway.
It's the actor's equivalent of saying that you were in a movie when you were an extra.
Yes. Yes. And look, you got to pay. Have you paid? You know what they said? When some eight foot tall monster has your favorite head up against a barroom wall and asks you if you've paid your dues, you look that monster straight back and you say, "Yes, sir. The check is in the mail."
Dang.
I learned that in John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China.
Dang.
Partially written by W.D. Richter, who also wrote The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
Oh, no one ever talks about Buckaroo Banzai.
No one ever
Rob
talks about
does.
Big Trouble in Little China either.
That's fair, man. But
You
guys,
guys want to talk about the pirate movie? Oh,
can
thought we were doing movies that no one talks about.
You
we
mean
can
with
go through
Christy
all of these,
McNichol?
Jonathan. I don't
Yeah.
care.
The pirate movie?
Yeah,
And Jim Belushi?
yeah, it's a good movie.
Go watch that too, you guys. Come on. Y'all, let us know what you think about this latest lawsuit. Do you think that this is an issue that needs to be dealt with by the court? Do you think this is going to be dismissed? Do you think this is just a lot of chasing after money that somebody is not necessarily owed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. All righty. Now, with all those things out of the way, we got a little game of true or false.
Whoa!
Whoa.
T, all right.
I bet you guys want to hear the first true or false question.
Maybe. Or we can just really draw out the anticipation.
Patient.
Good job.
Okay,
Very
well, we
Rocky
got
Horror.
Kahi says, true or false, Rob, Sinners will make more money than Thunderbolts.
False. As much as I love Sinners, I'm a huge Sinners supporter. I do not think it's going to make more money
We could tell.
than Thunderbolts. However, with what Sinners has been doing already, there's no telling how far it will go. So I'm a big fan, big supporter of Sinners. I love seeing that it made a lot of money. I think it's going to cross $200 million this weekend worldwide. So you go, Sinners. But I also think that Thunderbolts, people are saying it's a return to form for the MCU. And I don't know. I think it'll probably do at least what Captain America Brave New World did, if not more. So I don't know if Sinners can get that high.
Yeah, I got to go with you. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about Thunderbolts a bit more later, but I think you're right on the money here. Thunderbolts is getting rave reviews. It should do well. It should at least pass Captain America. And Sinners, while it's got legs, I think there are still people who are hung up on this being a genre film. And Thunderbolts is going to have that big worldwide release and everything. I think that your audience maybe just is drawn to that kind of content, maybe a little bit more. Even though Sinners is maybe a better movie. We're going to find out this week.
I just want to point out real quick that I switched my Thunderbolts screening to a later one to join my friends. So I looked at the seating chart. There was one chair that was still
Oh, wow.
available.
Oh,
and
dang.
in mine, as soon as I canceled,
Yours was taken.
it was taken. So it's going to be pretty big, I think.
Yeah, I think Thunderbolts is going to be bigger than people think it's going to
Yeah.
be.
me
I
too.
I need to go get my tickets. Amy and I are supposed to go together to see it in IMAX, and we are not organized ladies. Gotta get on the ball.
Rob, we're getting a request that you move your mic closer to your face, please. Don't be shy.
I can't. I mean,
That's good right there.
Yeah,
Does
you're
that
good.
work?
Yeah. All right.
People want to hear
so-
that beautiful baritone, baby.
Yeah, man. They want to
Oh
hear those
my
rich
God.
tones. Michael, I don't know. Mesa, I'm going to say, true or false, Chris, an update about the Blade movie will be announced at this year's San Diego Comic-Con. What say ye?
True, but it's not going to be satisfying.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Ray. I know you're here right now.
cold-blooded.
And I got
In front of my face.
I know. I have to shout
Right
out
in
every time on the show that I'm like, well, Blade's not happening. I get a text from Ray being like, why you got to break my heart? Why are you like?
How dare you?
But I think we'll get an update. I just don't think it's going to be anything that we're excited about. I think it's going to be, no, we're still moving along, and now we've got this person attached, and we're really finding our footing. It's going to be a PR kind
That's
of
so
update.
sad, Chris. Imagine all those people going excited to hear the announcement of Blade, and they're like, it's not coming. That's so break my heart.
Life isn't fair, and life is
I
filled with
know.
disappointment, and we all need to get used to it.
Okay, Rob, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so what do you think, Rob?
I probably think that we will get an update, but it's not going to be good. I mean, look, I want to see a Blade movie. I want to see Mahershala Ali
You
as
too?
Blade. I mean, I look at the Jurassic Park Rebirth or Jurassic World Rebirth trailers at Mahershala Ali going, man, I want to see him as Blade.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to get that. I don't think Marvel quite ever knew what to do with Blade. I mean, they had Ruth Carter working on it, and she said before she did Sinners, she was working on Blade, and she said in my interview that's on this channel with Ruth Carter, she said she was working on Blade, and it took place in the 20s. And I think the problem with Blade is they don't know how to. this is just my own speculation. I've never heard anything like this, but I think they have a problem figuring out how the vampire world would fit into the previously existing MCU. How do they explain all that? And there's a lot of baggage. Like Blade had a society of vampires that have been living in our world concurrently to humans. How do they explain that in the MCU? And as I've often asked, when Thanos snapped his fingers, would that mean that half the vampires died as well or disappeared? Would they be dusted because they're already dead? Like, how would that work?
And that's what the whole movie is now going to cover. It's going to be announced at Comic-Con 2025.
Yes,
you heard it here
Chris.
first from Robert Meyer Burnett. No.
But I mean,
sorry.
what's going to come out in between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, which are a year apart? We had I think we had Ant-Man and Captain Marvel come out in between Infinity War and Endgame. So what after Fantastic Four, what does Marvel have on deck besides the two Avengers movies?
We'll find out, I guess.
Maybe they could make maybe they will make a Blade movie.
Well, some people point out in the chat too, Ray, that you'll probably see him in What If.
Right.
I don't know if that counts for you.
You get an animated.
And then
That's like-
someone else in the
get it
chat
there.
pointed out, well, I mean, by the 90s, he killed most vampires. So, I mean, you know.
Also, so both of you guys are saying they Marvel Kathleen Kennedy Blade, where they announced it way
Yes.
before they had a plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So next up, we got Reed Foreman, who says, "True or false, Rob? Disney will announce another live-action remake of their animated movies this year."
I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know what they would remake. Maybe the Black Cauldron.
I just did a
That would be
podcast
cool, but-
about this.
Oh, really? Well, there
That'd be cool,
you
but I
go.
don't
I
think
mean,
they will.
how about making a live-action remake of a relatively unsuccessful
Yeah.
animated film? But they've got the books. They can go back to. I think that could be cool if they did
Come
that.
on, man. That was great, man. That was Don Bluth, just like Dragon's Lair.
It's one
great
of
art.
two Disney films that Tim Burton worked on as an animator before getting fired because he couldn't get the eyes right. I would love for them to remake The Black Cauldron.
But I don't know if they're going to do that. But I would assume. Look, after Lilo and Stitch's opening weekend, I think they're like, oh, what are we doing next?
Yeah.
So
It's definitely they're going to, true, because it's money left just on the floor if they don't remake some things.
how about
you
like
know?
the Rescuers,
Down Under.
right?
Down Under is the superior. Oh my gosh, that one's great. Although that lady who tries to trap Penny in like a well and drown her for diamonds. Villains in the 1960s and 70s of Disney were fucking wild. They were the best, where they were just like, no, we're here to murder a child. And now it's like, no, the bad guy is familial trauma. There's a time and a place. I'm just saying, sometimes I want a bad guy to be a bad guy who's there to just like kill people. That's all I want.
We were more mature in those days.
Is this
But the Black Cauldron, though, I literally just talked about this over on Two Philly Casuals on our Patreon, is that movie did not do well, but it is ripe for an incredible live action remake. You could do it as a series or a film. You have all the rights to those Welsh books still. It is an epic fantasy that deals with a lot of really intense, interesting mythology. It just was Disney taking a big swing in the 1970s, the 1980s, and not really knowing what to do with it. Was the first time they were playing around with CGI too, with those kind of weird lava lamp backgrounds. And the Horned King is one of the best Disney villains that has ever graced our screens. So there's so many cool things that they
Or
can do.
they should just go ahead and do the long put off remake of The Black Hole from 1979.
Oh, I don't know
Which
this one.
the Black Hole is a live action. It was their bid, Disney's bid to compete with Star Wars.
Oh.
It came out 2 weeks after Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and of course, Disney being Disney, it starred Anthony Perkins, Ernest Borgnine, Yvette Mimay, Robert Forster. I mean, and of course, Maximilian Schell, a cast that screamed kids.
Yeah.
And
so
Disney.
friendly. Gosh. Other people in the chat too are saying, doing Gargoyles technically is Disney. That would be great.
Oh yeah.
Treasure Planet,
Oh yeah, with the one with the
Atlantis.
Muppets.
The one with the Muppets? Which one with the Muppets?
Yeah, Treasure Planet, the one with the Muppets.
I'm gonna flip your desk.
Yeah. So next up, we got Duco.
How about Emperor's New Groove?
Oh, that could be fun.
I would totally watch that.
Well, after
Dude,
Taylor
yeah.
made us watch everything that was
know.
Taylor,
There
that
you
was
go.
Emperor's New Groove adjacent. We're so
I always
well-versed.
went to lunch when he did that. So
I stuck around.
That was the best times when he would pick the movies to watch.
I loved it.
Mean, yeah, that was great.
Go, if y'all have not already, go subscribe over to Taylor Gonzalez's channel at 50 Shades of Tay with 3 Ys. He's doing killer interviews over there, y'all. Taylor is just absolutely crushing it. We freaking love him.
He did 3 Ys? Of course he did
Yeah.
3 Ys.
there you go. Did we do this one? Yes, we
Yes,
did. Duco Donker Stieg Films says, true or false, Chris, no comic book movies will make a Billy this year.
Ooh.
a Billy.
No,
Shots fired.
not make a Billy?
Who's going to make the
Man.
Billy?
Billy. No, because I feel like Superman could.
Yeah, I
think
feel
it
the same
could.
way. I think
Although, your average moviegoer, are they still on board? Are they still confused about DC? I try to think about these questions in terms of what my mom and dad are going to go see, because they'll usually text me of like, "What? There's a new
That's a great-
Superman. Who
that's a
is
great-
that?"
yeah, that's
But
a
I
great way to
think I think there's the potential for that to make a billion, and I'm hopeful. The S stands for hope, so I'm going to say that it could. True, or false, I guess. Which one was it? It's going to make a billion.
whatever one makes sense.
True or false? No. So no comic book.
So false.
Okay, so false.
Billy for soups.
There you go.
I'm going to go false too, only because I would love it if Superman made over $1 billion just so I could just post James Gunn's Superman and how much it made. Just to be able to, and that's the tweet.
You're actualizing it.
forever.
Yeah.
You're actualizing
That's all
it.
I would ever have to say.
Manifestation.
So please make over $1 billion. Please.
I'd
go.
love it.
Well,
I'd
you
love
can
it.
make that happen, Rob. Just a lot of your time will be required.
You got to go see that so many times. In the theater.
But I wanted to. I want every comic book movie to make $1 billion because that means it's good
Yeah.
and people like it.
All right, final one. Delgado, Rob, true or false? They'll announce the next James Bond movie on the same day they announced a connected James Bond extended universe Amazon TV series.
Look,
That's very specific.
that'll be the same day I eat a bullet, but I think it possibly could be true.
So, in other words, Rob, can you make that a...
Look,
So glad I led with Rob on this one.
here's the thing. As everyone knows, the Burnett axiom is never put your universe before your characters or your story.
Great take.
And I would like to see Amazon make a great James Bond movie. And then once they've done that, on the triumph of their James Bond movie, then they can tell me everything that they're going to do with their James Bond franchise. But until they've actually made one piece of great James Bond film, television, whatever it's going to be, as Kirk said about the Klingons in Star Trek 6, don't believe them. Don't trust them. And I am wanting to see them make one great James Bond movie before they announce
Yes, he
anything
did.
else.
That was a random ass quote, but it was just a real quote.
Well,
It's a real one.
thank you, Rob.
Chris?
I love you, buddy, but it's true because it's Amazon and they're going to give us some synergy package here of, what's pretty cool? Our movie's coming out, and also our universe is expanding at the same time. It's going to be a
Well, the
thing.
universe is expanding.
ever expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
Rob.
I think it's going to happen at the same time. Don't unalive yourself, Robert. You have so much to live for.
I know.
Not
Potentially
if
some Star
Amazon
Trek.
doesn't make a great James Bond.
Wow. Really? James Bond? Come on. Come on.
We got more audio dramas to make, man. Come on.
We do. That's true. Well, there's a lot of time before that movie comes out, so I got a few years before.
true,
It's not even
true.
in production yet. It takes 2 years to make a Bond film, so I have at least until what? 2028?
You got some
Yeah.
time.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm
got
going
some
to wait
time.
until I see Secret Wars,
There you go.
Oh, that's great.
because that could be
Great.
the impetus to do the same thing.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you,
Well,
Rob.
that's true or false. So, I guess
Let's go to our
hope
main
you guys
topic.
enjoyed
I
that
need to just
dark moment.
really make it clear to everyone too. We are stone cold sober in the studio today. It is off the rail.
This is why it's amazing. I'm like, okay.
All right.
I'm drinking Diet Pepsi.
I made myself a mocha. I feel very fancy. Yeah.
Look at you.
I used Fairlife chocolate milk. Anywho, all right. So our main topic here, y'all, the Thunderbolts reviews have arrived.
Yes.
And they are pretty stinking glorious. We are at around a 90%. Now, at the time we made our graphic, it was 90%. We've
Gonna
dipped down a
refresh.
little bit to
Gonna refresh.
88.
88 now?
Well, that's
my
because there's
God.
90, 20 more reviews came in since
Yeah.
we made the graphic.
Exactly.
But those are still stellar. 88%.
88 is still fantastic for this film. So let's read a couple of these reviews, shall we?
Let's see. Sorry.
That's
I got
okay.
There we go. Okay, here we go.
All right, from Bob Chipman over at Movie Bob Central. A Marvel riff on The Boys if it were written for adults instead of edgelord teenagers with oppositional defiant disorder. Whoa.
Wow.
Hot take, Bob. Okay. From Lee McCoy, the characters in Thunderbolts are quite fun and charming. Florence Pugh steals the movie and shines in every scene. I had an inkling. It doesn't necessarily save the current state of the MCU, but it's a start in the right direction. From John Nugent over at Empire Magazine, it doesn't always land, but it dares to be different. From the title to the team up. Fresh and thoughtful in a way recent Marvel efforts haven't always managed. From The Guardian, it ultimately works all due to Pugh, who can wrestle sincerity out of a screenplay and franchise that has so little, capturing a whole emotional arc in just her moments of silence. Now, we do have some of the ones where we're seeing it didn't fire on all cylinders for him. From, I don't know these publications, Gone with the Twins, but why though? A geek community? All right. Entertaining in all the usual ways, but it can't muster an identity of its own or a novel approach that could make it stand out from the rest, despite the fact that its B team of superheroes is comprised of some A-list character actors. Thunderbolts feels acutely stunned by the limitations levied by its shared universe, where the mold it's forced to fit into obfuscates any new daring lens.
Well, that's probably a commentary on the MCU.
MCU as a whole, I would
you're
say.
Constrained.
Sure. Let's see here. From the Sunday Independent. The dialogue doesn't quite snap, crackle, and pop the way it should, but the snarky setup nonetheless holds our attention.
All right. Some of these are like good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I do wonder, are we at a point, and this is just a question I'm posing to everyone, I'm not saying this about Thunderbolts, I'm saying this with movies as a whole. I feel like we have become incredibly judgmental of films. And a lot of times critic scores and audience scores don't mash up, right? But do we also sometimes have that moment of, I mean, it's better than other films I've seen, so yeah, I'll give it a good score. Like,
Yeah,
where do you
that,
think
I'm
we're
reading.
settling now?
I'm reading a lot of that happening right now with all the reviews. It's kind of disappointing.
The words being chosen aren't glowing like I thought they would be. But the
Yeah.
percentage is such a high number
Right.
that I feel like, yeah, this seems like an excellent film. I don't know, what can you kind of purse out of that, Rob?
Well, what's so funny is it's interesting to see how the MCU could do no wrong from like 2008 to 2019. You know, so you had this decade plus stretch, and now we're looking. There's a cynicism, there's a malaise. All this stuff has permeated not just the culture, but the idea of Marvel movies as a whole. And I think that you know, that's what Marvel's fighting against. There is a deep cynicism that's taken hold, and I also think that, you know, I always talk about movies at scale. Like when I go see a lower budget. Like, I'll give you an example. Barbarian. The movie Barbarian. $4 million movie. When you go into that movie entertains as much as a $100 million movie does. But people aren't expecting it to change their lives.
Right.
They're just like, wow, that was really surprising and fun. But when you go see a movie like Thunderbolts, it's a $200 million movie. I think people expect the light of heaven to open up, the clouds part, and all their problems are swept away by the 2-hour experience of seeing the Thunderbolts. And when that doesn't happen, they're like, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, what are we talking about here? What kind of, were you entertained? Right. But I think there's an expectation that Marvel movies are supposed to provide you with, I don't know, take all of your troubles away, like Calgon. You know, used to take people's troubles away. I'm an old man, so that's a reference nobody.
Could you see just the fear sweep over of my face if I went,
take me
what?
away. But that's it's that's like doing a Love Boat reference, just so you know. It's that old. But I mean, I think that's the problem with what the expectation of these movies is. Everybody wants now these tentpole movies to, because of how much money they cost and the expectation that they're gonna change your life. And to me, I find the premise of this within the MCU interesting. I like this group of characters. I love Florence Pugh. I think she's one of the great actors of our time. I mean, she's
so
amazing.
Talented.
She's sexy. She's a fiery pistol.
Calm down,
but she can also play. No, she can also play in a period piece if you want. I mean, she can do anything. And the fact that she anchors the movie makes sense. I want to be wildly entertained by this movie. I'm curious to see how the Sentry's portrayed. Yeah. I'm curious to see what happens, where the MCU is left at the end of this movie. I'm expecting to go in and have a great time at the picture show. I'm not expecting, you know, all of my ills to be cured in a 2-hour stint I spend inside a movie theater. So I think that I'm going to get out of it what I want, which is to be entertained and have a smile on my face and, have a great time.
Yeah. Jonathan, do these move the needle for you in any way, or?
Well, so far most of them have been like, essentially it's like this film's good. It's okay. I mean,
It's a movie.
But I mean, honestly, it's like, okay, well, look, Cinemania has a good one here. A more human reinterpretation of heroism reshapes the future of the MCU, restores our hope with a promising and necessary change of pace. That's okay. That's an actual positive. We've got what is this? Culturist.
Culturist.
On the other hand, on its own merits, Thunderbolts is a surprisingly engaging production, getting a lot of mileage out of a more low-key aesthetic and some strong performances, which is what we kind of take away from the trailers. Alan here says Thunderbolts tries to turn superheroes into therapists, but all it really does is leave fans desperate for proper balls. So what are you looking for there then? Are you only looking for the boom boom? Like,
Also,
you have to kind of read into their commentary to see like, well, it's positive or negative. But what is it they're like trying to look for? Because maybe I'm not looking for the same thing out of it that they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, where are they drawing their expectations from? Is it because Thunderbolts, it's a B team.
Right.
No one knows.
Yeah.
It's not Avengers Thunderbolts. It should. I would think.
Or
you shouldn't
is
expect
it?
so much. But then Guardians of the Galaxy maybe have ruined that because no one knew them too, and then they ended up being great movies.
Well, that's another thing you just pointed out, that Thunderbolts, there's already something analogous in the MCU, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy. So is Thunderbolts as entertaining as Guardians 1 was?
And also it's the expectations coming from because of the actors. They have such a A-list group of actors, right? And they should bring a good movie. I mean, it's crazy how some of these reviews is like, well, Captain America was awful, so I guess if this one's all right compared to that, you know what I mean? It was like,
It's really odd though, but then they'll give it like a 4 out of 5. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think you liked it more than your commentary.
And I'm most disappointed in scanning through them that there's not a lot of mention of the Sentry. So he might just be one of those villains that's just there.
I hope he's not a one and done. And I feel like this just goes back to a thing that you and I have talked about ad nauseum, Rob, of a lot of times we're put in this position to tear art apart
Right.
and have a hard opinion on it, but then still deliver a 4 out of 5. Sure, it's great. And I do wonder sometimes if it's just, can we just take something at face value? Can we
Right.
just say what we like about the thing? And not have to dissect it entirely. And I know that also spits in the face of what this whole show is about sometimes, if you're watching this for our opinions and to share your own and everything. But I just feel like sometimes we're put in a position where it's really nitpick, really dig at why this could be bad, why this could not be cinema.
Well, I mean, my default position is to like the MCU. I'm a lifelong comic book reader.
Same.
I thought what the MCU did, beginning with Iron Man in 2008, was terrific. I love the Infinity Saga. And I'm somebody that, when I watched Eternals, I enjoyed Eternals. I didn't think it was a particularly great MCU movie.
No, but it's interesting.
But yeah, I was, that's exactly right. I was interested. I was enthralled. I loved what was going on there. And, a lot of people like, when you say something, it sucks. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Where's your media literacy? Give me something.
It's like the MCU, I'm pulling for it. Do I want Doomsday to be as good as Infinity War? I do. Do I think it will be? I don't know. I think it's predicated on a gimmick. I don't like that. Whereas
Same.
Infinity War and Endgame were earned over the course of the entire Infinity Saga. And I think that the problem with the MCU is their plan was weak going into the multiverse saga. They made the multiverse too nebulous. And now this movie has nothing really to do, as far as I understand, with that saga. So it's not even a movie that's connected to the greater MCU story that's being played out, except I would imagine there must be some kind of tie-in to Fantastic Four. Otherwise, that's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know
Absolutely.
what that's going to be, but I want this movie to be good. I want to be entertained.
Same here.
I do.
And if it is a quote unquote bottle episode for the MCU, I'm okay with that as long as it's interesting and we have some thread that we can pull at to connect everything ultimately.
Yeah.
And Ray, just to kind of put a little pep in your step, the chat is reminding us that there have been a lot of reviews that came out this week talking about how Lewis Pullman is excellent in this film.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting good reviews about Bob.
Yeah,
So
Bob,
hopefully we're
baby.
doing some really good things with Sentry.
That's been
Yeah.
my life's goal. Good reviews about
Good
Bob.
reviews about Bob. Hey, Bob, you're great.
Thanks, babe.
No problem.
Appreciate it. I called you babe.
That's
Called
okay.
the colleague babe. Demonetized.
That's all right.
HR.
It's not fair though, because I do it to you all the time, and no one ever calls me out on calling you babe. And
No,
when you do it
it's
to
true.
me,
Rob,
people are
it's
like,
true.
"Don't call her babe."
You know, Rob actually, like, after you leave, Rob calls, it starts crying on her shoulders and is like, why does she always call me babe? I feel
Oh
so-"
no.
Yeah, oh, Rob.
I never
I
mean
know.
to.
Why you gotta out me like this on?
man.
I feel we have to be
International.
open now. You
We
know, to
do.
be open.
Streaming.
Communication is key for us to all move forward with strong relationships. All right. Otherwise, we're going to have to put an asterisk near our name. Well, guys, let us know how you're feeling about these numbers. All right. Does the percentage make sense given what the reviews are actually saying? How do you feel about the reviews? Is it moving the needle anyway, or are you still feeling how you feel about Thunderbolts? Let us know in the comments. All right. Now, with all of that done, we're getting to the best part of the show, which is talking to you guys about your thoughts and theories and your questions. So, Jonathan, what do we have?
Okay, we got Sean Merchant to start us off. Hi, John. Back again for context, since Jonathan asked the Coppola event was supposed to focus on Megalopolis and his career, but he mostly talked about the patriarchy and horses like Ken and Barbie. Interesting, but unexpected. Well, much like Megalopolis, it didn't seem very focused.
Dang. Burn.
Oh, I'm a Rotten
burn.
Tomatoes critic.
Oh, okay. Now I know.
Oh, double burn.
And Rotten Tomatoes
I like the
critics
shimmy.
do this little shimmy, you know.
Really sells it.
The
What
tomato
else we
shimmy.
got?
We got Alfie. John, you mentioned the moment that broke you in The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. For me, I broke when Tommy was sitting next to Joel and said, "Give Sarah my love." Yeah, that was a nice, quiet moment. It took me back to Season 1, Episode 1, and I cried hard.
Yeah, that's the moment that I sobbed. I was not okay with that.
I said, who's Sarah? And then I said,
Oh,
oh no.
No, because
In a
I
minute.
forget. I forget.
Yeah, well, a lot has happened. No,
Yeah,
I totally
so-
get that.
We're being open and honest. At first, I said, who's Sarah? And then I was like, oh.
You know, I
and
was
then
a
I cried.
little surprised, though, that they didn't bury him with the watch. Like, the watch was with his belongings.
Oh, yeah,
Interesting.
that is. That get you going, Bobbert?
Little bit. I think seeing my hometown of Seattle destroyed was a little bit more, it was traumatizing for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm down with the geography as how they presented it either.
Yeah.
I have questions.
Much like the game, it's
Yeah,
not quite.
little changes in that Seattle geography. Just asking.
Wait till you see where they put the Space Needle.
You should write a review on Round the Bands.
And I know that sounded like a weird
was gonna
euphemism, but it
say.
was not. I love Andy Lincoln says, The Walking Dead. That show set the stage for shows like The Last of Us. All its actors do a great job, especially Andrew Lincoln, who should have won an award for his performance when Lori died. In my opinion, or in his opinion, went on way too long, but I stayed until the end. What do you did you watch much of
I watched Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead.
I left when Glenn was killed.
Oh, yeah.
That
seemed pretty freaking harsh.
Yeah, the show just got a little bit too torture porny for me, and I had read the comics, and I'm totally okay with how they deviated from the comics, but we did get to a point of, I need somebody from like BBC to come here and tell you that it's time to end your show. I need you to reel it in. How'd you feel about it, Rob?
Look, I thought the first 6 episodes of Walking Dead, that first season, was amazing. And obviously it was all derived. I mean, Kirkman's comics and everything was derived from Romero's Dead universe. So Dawn of the Dead, Romero's Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I liked it. But it finally gets to a point with these post-apocalyptic worlds that, humanity is always revealed to be that it's at its worst. That I would like to have seen which they kind of did in these later shows, because they're still making Walking Dead shows.
Yeah.
And where humanity like wakes up and gets it would be more like in Last of Us, they'd be building communities, because human life would suddenly become the most precious thing on the world on Earth if it was at a premium. So to have all the worst of humanity, it just got old.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, another group of horrible people. And I'm like, fine, I understand it's The Walking Dead, but my God, and really that title refers, like, as you find out in the comic, we are the Walking Dead, so
Yeah.
there's that great moment at the end of whatever. But and it's Lincoln's character who says that.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. I mean, look, the visual effects of zombies getting their head blown off always make me chuckle, and they've gotten better than they've ever been.
Yeah.
But what about when zombies fart out their?
Oh man,
okay.
did you guys see the studio?
That was hilarious. That was. I mean, but you know what? Here's my problem. Let me tell you.
Are you
that.
really, guys?
In the studio, I get it, but even that broke verisimilitude for me because nobody would make that movie. It was too.
Well, it broke wind, not.
Too, it went,
Wow,
went too
Chris.
far for me, Chris.
It's okay.
Today, Chris reigns champ. Okay.
We got JP here wanting to put this upcoming film on your guys' radar, Scarlet by Mamoru Hosoda, coming hot off the press of Belle, which is my favorite film with an amazing dub. Animation looks great and is being backed by Sony. How will this do at the box office? You guys
Mamoru
familiar
Hosoda
with-
is one of the great Japanese animators.
Yeah.
I loved Belle. I have Belle. Would you be surprised to know that I own
Yeah, no.
Belle in a special edition 4K?
Would you all be
Box
surprised
set?
to know that Rob got me that special edition
That's
4K
right.
box set for my birthday?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I love it so much.
It's
Oh
so
wait,
good.
you gave her the one I gave you?
No, dude.
I'm just kidding. Being open and honest today.
Open and honest.
Yeah,
Open and honest. We're
that was my
gifting.
first lie.
I don't-
That was my first lie for
I
today.
don't re-gift. I kept your Rebel Moon figure
I
you
know.
gave me.
That's true love.
That's why everybody calls him regifting Rob.
Everybody.
Yeah, in the industry.
Did you get robbed?
Yeah, regifted Rob.
I love Belle so much though.
So good.
Box office wise, I don't know how it'll do ultimately because as popular as anime has become, particularly in the last few years, because it is such incredible innovative storytelling, it's just typically it's just kind of more of that style we're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're not talking about genre because anime can encompass so many different things. This is why anytime somebody says, "Oh, I really don't like anime," you just haven't found the one for you yet.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like saying, "I don't really like movies." You haven't found a movie you like then.
I have to tell you, I just bought an animated film from Shout Factory called The First Slam Dunk.
Oh.
It is a high school basketball anime.
Oh, is that the really
It's-
popular one?
Awesome.
Dude, I heard that one's good.
It's awesome.
I've been wanting to start that one.
And I bought it because Chris Stuckman had done a review and Dieter Bastian on my show, Let's Get Physical Media, talked about it. And I just watched it and I was like, this is great.
I just added an anime. I don't even know like much about it, but I just saw that it was uploaded 4 days ago. It could be old, it could be new, but it was an anime on Heir to the Empire.
Oh.
I saw that the anime. I did too.
So I added
think
it to my
it was like
queue.
a fan film. I just watched. I watched
Heir
it
to the
yesterday.
Empire.
Oh, did you? I
Star
want to
Wars?
watch it. Yeah, Heir to the Empire. It's a fan made anime.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's an
great.
animated version of the beginning of Heir to the Empire. Some of it's
That's awesome.
it's simple. It looks more like 2D Flash animation,
yeah.
but it's pretty good. But there's a lot of anime that Summer Wars just got re-released in 4K. That's an older, not that old, but
Yeah.
it's like 10, 15 years old or something. I remember seeing Belle. I think it played in IMAX here. So
I'm looking up what it did.
That's what I was doing too. 64.67 million worldwide.
Worldwide, but only 4 million domestic.
Yeah.
So
It did better
I mean,
elsewhere.
I would say if this new movie does 10 to 12, you're doing great.
Exactly.
domestically.
Yeah.
But if Sony pushes it, I mean, and look, every year more and more people are gravitating to anime, and they're seeing, and it's becoming a much more potent force at the box office.
Absolutely.
So I mean, look at what happens when Demon Slayer comes out and makes money,
Or the My Hero Academia movies
Yeah.
or everything. The only thing we have to change, though, guys, is you got to make sure you're paying your dub actors better. All right? Pay them what they're worth because you guys are not supporting them well. Fix
There
it.
you go. There you go. Millennial Geek says, did you watch the 03 Clone Wars cartoon? I think he's talking about the Samurai Jack one that aired between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It's a beautiful, well-done series that perfectly showed in real time what was happening, set up exactly what happens 10 minutes before Revenge of the Sith starts. 9 years old or 31 years old, me loves it.
Oh, yeah. If that is the Samurai Jack style art, that was rad.
Tartakovsky did that.
Yeah, that was rad.
You know what that series did really well? It showed the Jedi at their peak, like how much they could kick ass. And I think that's something that one misstep of the prequel trilogy, the biggest misstep, was not showing us the Jedi. Like, it should have opened like a Bond movie where you saw Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan like do something amazing, like stop a civil war or something like that, and then they go to the Jedi Council, and the Jedi Council's like, yeah, there's this planet Naboo, something's going, can you guys go out and check that out? And so you made them into these buddy cops that you already loved. And
There
then,
you go.
you know, instead of, that movie opens with two Jedi. We've never seen two full-fledged Jedi before. They go into a room and sit down. That's literally how that movie opens. That's not a good way. You should have bonded it out and made a gigantic 14-minute action sequence like in The World Is Not Enough.
If only. We got Cash Villain says, I haven't played the game, but am I the only one that thinks Ellie was lying about her conversation to the therapist? She said Ellie's a liar. I just think there's more there. But, well, what she's lying about is that she knows
okay.
she knows what Joel saved her from. She can't tell other people she's immune to the virus.
Yeah.
Or to the it's not a virus, to the
Fungus.
the fungus.
The cordyceps.
Yeah.
There's a fungus among us.
So she can't be like, oh, he saved me from this hospital. They were going to operate on me. Oh, why? What's the operation for?
Yeah.
You know, migraines.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And also, she's telling her what she wants to hear. You know, she's lying to her therapist, like most people do.
Exactly. And that scene is so well executed because Bella Ramsey can really toe that line of letting us, the audience, know that she's not being honest.
Yeah.
But still delivering what you would do to lie to your therapist.
I mean, and then she lies to the whole town with that speech about justice. It's
It is
great.
about
And Catherine
revenge.
O'Hara's like,
Yeah.
she's a liar. You know, you have to remember she's a liar, but that's why the show's great.
Yeah. We got, let's see, what do we got? Oh, Bry Guy says, what's more likely? Dean Fleischer Camp, Lilo and Stitch, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, directing the Toys R Us movie, Wes Anderson directing A24's movie version of Barney the Dinosaur, or Wes Anderson directing his own original film for A24. Well, he would definitely want to do his, I feel like we were talking about Wes Anderson the other day. He really only does, and there goes Ray. He really only does like do his own style. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't deviate from that.
Yeah.
And even if he does one for A24, it's still gonna be a Wes Anderson movie.
Exactly. Yeah. He likes to play in his own sandbox. He is so meticulous too. Back when I was on the SAG nominating committee, it was so cool to go over to the Fox lot and listen to him talk about things and talking about how he lines up shots and all the other actors talking about how this is like the most intense theater they've ever done.
Yeah.
I have to hit this mark. And if I don't, the entire series of shots we've built up to is completely ruined. It's like having a really elaborate, oh gosh, what is the actual name of when you're doing the mousetrap game? That where it's a series of things that set things off.
Oh, chain reaction or
Well, a chain reaction, but
Well-
there's an idea behind that, like that model that you build
Yeah.
A Rube
essentially.
Goldbergian
Yes,
device.
thank you, a Rube Goldberg device.
Dang, I would have never guessed that or even said anything.
Oh
close
my
to that.
gosh.
I've been like roller coaster.
Brains and Beauty, Robert Meyer Burnett. Thank you so
What-
much.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg, ladies and gentlemen.
So he has that kind of setup to everything too. I think he just really likes to control not only the narrative and what's actually showing up in his shots. I don't know if pre-existing IP is really going to be his thing outside of, you know, like some of the stuff he's done with stop motion.
All right, we got Danny who says, "Hey John, don't know if you know this already, but Michael B. Jordan is also owner of an English Premier League, AFC Bournemouth." I don't think any of us knew that,
No.
but that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was like that much into you know, the
Into the football?
UK yeah.
Isn't it interesting to hear what actors are investing into? Like, it's so different between.
I think following Ryan Reynolds' lead, that you're going to see a lot more actors investing their money, and also with the actors that have made money on their not just Ryan Reynolds, but people like George Clooney, Sammy Hagar off his tequila brand.
Sure.
They've made a lot of money off that kind of stuff, and that's, you know, investment's a key.
That's
Yeah.
what you work for to
Absolutely,
get
yeah.
that.
Get that money. Got to make your money work for you. Tender Whisper says saw The Accountant 2 over the weekend and loved it. The interactions between Chris and Braxton were the highlights of the film. When Braxton was pissed because the kid wouldn't give him back the cat at the end was hilarious. Have you guys got to see Accountant 2?
I have not. Thanks for
No.
spoiling it.
Well, yeah, spoilers.
There's a cat in it.
Yeah. Okay, we got.
Well, now it's
I
ruined.
haven't seen it yet either, but it's on my list.
Yeah, I still need to see that one.
Here we go. Aaron says, "Hi guys, just wanted to vent about Omniplex in Ireland scrapping their €18 per movie for unlimited movie plan for tiered seating plan where subscribers have to pay extra on top of the subscription for good seats. No. They tried that at AMC and there was outrage and they stopped it. Is this a thing in the States? Yeah, AMC said they were experimenting with it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, just kidding. Not going to do
Was
that.
that when they were trying to do tiers of seating? Like there's like
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
if you want to sit right in the center of the center, it's more than if you're like, so whatever. And it's like, no.
I don't want my movie theater to be like a Spirit airline.
Yeah.
No.
You know, theaters are always trying to do something where they're trying to make more money, obviously, right? But I think they're looking in the wrong areas. Sometimes it's just make sure the audience is comfortable watching in their theater. They're, you know, like, and just even those things. I love Cinemark because they offer bags of chips.
And trays.
The
and stuff
simplest
like that.
reason why I would keep going back to Cinemark. It's far, but like things like that are, I think they're looking into the weirdest ways to make money, which sometimes ends up screwing over the actual
Also, not
people who
everybody
are
likes
giving
to sit
their
in the
money.
middle.
Yeah.
There's people that are claustrophobic that like to sit on the ends. There's people that like to sit in the back. There's people that like to sit in the
Yeah.
front.
My dad is a real tall man. He likes to sit on the end so he can stick one leg out.
You know where
Yeah.
I like on at the AMC Prime or the AMC Dolby Cinema, there's that one aisle that's midway up, and it's got that huge like you can just stretch your legs
Yep.
out. I
Yeah.
am always in
That's
that
the one
aisle.
I like too.
I love it. Your name says since well, let's see. We'll go to Ray. Hey John, my favorite character in Star Wars is because this is about business stuff and John's not here.
Yeah.
Hey John, my favorite character in Star Wars is Yoda, and it's because he's so small and people underestimate him, and he's most powerful Jedi to me, anyways. Just love Yoda. So, who's your favorite Star Wars character, and why? Who y'all's favorite?
Salacious Crumb. I love him. He's such a stinky little guy.
He is a little stinky.
I love him.
Lobot, just because he goes, makes it happen.
Yep.
Doesn't even say anything. And he works for Lando Calrissian. No, I think my favorite, it's Han Solo.
There you go.
Sure. Yeah.
That's because a
Obi-Wan.
droid don't pull
Yeah.
people's arms out of their sockets when they lose.
Obi-Wan's probably my like favorite character. But every time I see that little stinky boy, I love him.
We got Matan. When do you think we'll see an Avatar 3 trailer? Doesn't seem to be attached to Thunderbolts. Is way too early. Like 2 was for Doctor Strange. They need to start it soon. They got to start the hype. Oh, to make us forget Cameron is pro AI. Matan, I don't think you'll ever forget that. I'm going to be honest with you.
They showed us like 8 minutes of it at
Oh yeah.
you know, that's where I got there's the Mordor Na'vi that have denounced Iowa. There's the Crack of Doom. I think there's Sauron on who knew? Sauron on Pandora. I'm down with the Ash people. I want to be one of the Ash Na'vi.
So you're an Ash man.
Well done, dude. Well done.
Come on.
It's
wasn't-
true. Everyone
yeah.
knows that though.
Yeah.
Little ash on the tongue never hurt anyone.
Gonna move on to Anonymous.
You should have just went fast before he could get his thoughts together.
I know.
Mordor, man, Mordor.
Anonymous says, back when they announced that they were going to redesign Sonic in the movies, you said that was a mistake on Paramount's part. Well, now they have 3 films, TV spinoff, and soon 4th film. Do you think, you still think that it was a mistake? Why they redesigned Sonic? I think at the time, and I can't quite remember, it was more of like a time and pressure thing, and you could end up like screwing this up because it was pretty quickly they like redesigned. I don't think he liked the beady eyes better than the cartoon
And the
eyes.
janky teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more of a
Ugly
concern,
Sonic looked like he did a lot of meth.
but they pulled it
That's
off.
how he got that speed. He was like, I gotta go fast.
They pulled it off.
And that was a pretty great. I mean, that was fandom crying out,
Yeah, I think
and
that was
the studio listening and making a pivot. And 3 movies later, they were right to do so.
There is part of me that I do kind of buy into that conspiracy theory just a little bit of them being like, he was never going to look like that. He was never going to look like
They
that.
Yeah,
some
that was
hype.
just a placeholder
Yeah.
They wanted some
for the
hype.
trailer.
We got Jazz Hands. Got Out to Sinners. It was one of the best movies I've seen in years. This might sound embarrassing to say, but to quote the great Matt Murdock, F it, I cried in the toilets after. Oh man, I cry in the toilets every day. Don't feel bad.
Wait a second.
kidding.
It's Sinners bad?
After over its sheer brilliance.
Oh,
No, because
okay.
he was overwhelmed with its sheer brilliance.
Dang, that's
Go
dope.
IMAX or go home.
That's great.
Jazz hands. I mean, I'll only speak for myself. I cry over the most simple things. So you have to have a cry after seeing a magnificent film like Sinners.
Especially,
fine.
I mean, look, if you're there's so much representation of so many kinds in there. Like I've always been a blues and a jazz fan. You know, there's a movie directed by Bertrand Tavernier called Round Midnight that stars a real jazz musician, Dexter Gordon, and I love that film, and I love its representation of the music. And one of the things I did not know when I saw Sinners was how much music and what a musical component there was, which shouldn't have been surprising knowing it took place in a juke joint, but it was incredible. Like the music in Sinners was overwhelmingly incredible. And how often do you get that kind of, when was the last time the Delta Blues had such representation in a film? I mean, it was incredible. Loved it.
We got Ollie, who says, with Doomsday just a year away, it's interesting how little talk there is about who might die. Unlike Infinity War, it makes you wonder if anyone even cares. We barely spent time with a lot of these characters, so their deaths won't hit that hard anyway. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a multiverse. You know, I mean, right now we're in a who's gonna die. Watching What If, you're just seeing variant after variant after variant show up. I mean, I'm hoping that Infinity War Ultron shows up and kills everybody, but that's not gonna happen.
No, but what an epic film.
I would.
Oof. Oof. Do it, you cowards.
Yeah, come on, man. They made a hot toy of Infinity
Come on,
Ultron.
James
Very
Spader.
nice.
You
Dan
go
V.
Infinity Ultron.
Dan V says Rotten Tomatoes has removed the average rating from critics, like 6 out of 10, which I find very odd. Okay, well, I'll finish reading this. You can still see the average rating of a film from the audience, which is less valuable. You only have the percentage of positive reviews now for critics. If you step in, I mean, we were looking at bring it right here. I mean, maybe it's just for certain ones it wasn't activated, but you can see here original score 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 3 out of 5. Some people give letter scores. Yeah, I see it here, but maybe on certain ones
Is
it's
it
not.
specifically the 6 that we don't get?
They're also
That
trying
seems
to
foolish.
stave off review bombing, you know,
Yeah.
and that's part of it too, which I think is silly. I mean, I think it's silly to
Review bomb.
But
What a weird thing to do with your free time when you
Yeah.
live in this point of time and with all the technology we have. You could do so much cooler shit.
I know.
Wow.
Well, on my free time, I like to read the review bomb. And
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
so,
Entertaining.
What's being review bombed today?
We got Ryan Scott, who says, "Hi crew, been watching since I was 15. I'm 27 now. Time kind of flies when the thing you love is cinema, and look forward to the next experience."
yeah.
Wow.
That is true. It is a little scary sometimes, 'cause it's like, oh man, that's coming up in like 2027 or whatever. Can't wait to get. And then you get there, and it's like 2 years have passed, and,
And
we
just-
are, and now it's 2 years in the past.
Yeah.
I have always clocked my life ticking by what movies came out when. Like I can tell you, on December 7th, 1979, when I was 12 years old, I saw Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
And
Now, that's scary, because when you think about it, it's like, oh, and if you put that in, if you start thinking about when movies came out, like there's a movie called The Final Countdown about the USS Nimitz, an aircraft carrier going back through time to World War II.
And do you get involved or not?
Do you get involved or not? Martin Sheen's in it. Kirk
Yeah.
Douglas is in it.
Is that a true story?
That movie came out 45 years ago.
Dang.
And I don't know why, but I think of it. Yes, I do own the 4K version on disc.
Of course you do.
But I wonder. I'm like, it seems like my mom took me and picked me up from the theater, and I remember the conversation I had with my mom as she was driving me home. I don't know why in that particular movie. I love the movie. A lot of people didn't. They thought, oh, it was anticlimactic. I didn't think that. But I vividly remember my mom going, what was that movie about? And I was trying to explain to her, my mom has no imagination about an aircraft carrier going back.
She's not an imagination
She was
connoisseur?
like, she is not. My mom is not an imagination connoisseur, even though that she made sure I became one. But I remember having that conversation, and I was frustrated that my mother did not understand why it was cool. That was 45 years ago.
Yeah, I was about to
45
say
years
to
ago.
the
I'm gonna die soon.
to the
You're
viewer
not
that
gonna die soon. Stop saying that.
I am gonna die after I see.
Oh God.
I was gonna say about the viewer's question. I was saying, 25% of that was watching Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, the joke was way too late.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
way too late.
The-
Like,
the
we
lure-
moved on
I had to fit it in,
I
man.
loved it though.
We moved
Yeah.
on to World
I
War
loved
II,
it.
So,
steelbooks.
Everyone cut that and put that over everything
Yeah.
else, and then let the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure people go back and edit this.
yeah.
Buckeye Champion says, my Marcus Theater, which is also the one I've gone to for over 20 years, has 15 screens, a super seen, I think he means screen, an ultra screen, and is unveiling Ohio's first Screen X theater this weekend. Its first movie on it is Thunderbolts on Friday. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Oh, that's
I can't remember
awesome.
what Screen X
Is that the one that
is.
folds around you? I want to see a
What's
movie
that?
in that
Might
theater,
be.
the one that folds around you. Like,
Some people say like it's kind of gimmicky.
Oh yeah, it's the multi-projection cinema
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
the 270-degree one.
Where
Yeah.
they
Ooh.
kind of add footage that wasn't there, but it
Okay.
matches the footage there, and it's sort of weird.
Oh.
That's
I wouldn't
like if
mind
you go
trying to-
do the Kung Fu Panda ride at Universal.
Yeah.
oh, I don't want that. I thought it was actually because they filmed in such a wide screen that you get to see more of the actual.
No.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Gimmick.
it's get. Oh,
It'd be cool if they actually threw real Thunderbolts at you though
Oh,
in the theater.
I mean, now we're talking.
is that a spoiler for Thor? Tristan says, "Don't feel bad, John, about having less enthusiasm when it comes to movies going straight to streaming because I'm the same. Except I don't give them a chance nowadays. There are only a few I like, but most are just not good. They're the new straight to DVD. I just wait for reviews on those ones. You know."
I mean, if it looks fun, I'll give it a go. I'll give it the good old college try. How can I decide if I like something if I don't see it?
Yeah, that's
And
me.
I know a bunch of you are going to bring up horror. Shut up. Let me have this moment. Where
Yeah.
I know I don't want to watch people get their eyes gouged out, but I might want to watch a movie about sports or a BlackBerry or things like that. Like that challenge me and are interesting that I wouldn't usually
That Black
gravitate
Blueberry
towards.
movie was very good.
BlackBerry was great.
One day you need to see Lucio Fulci's Zombie.
I feel like one day I don't, but
I think you do. I think it'll help you get over your fear of eye violence.
how? Look at how I am so vulnerable. Look at how big they are.
Zombie has the greatest instance of eye violence in any movie ever.
Okay, so that's why you want.
Yeah, you face your fear. You get over it.
I don't want to do immersion therapy.
What about feel your fears and actually?
Well, I like
No,
to do that. I enjoy it.
Ugh.
Exactly are your fears, Rob. Sam Fisher says, "Guys, I've been rewatching Leverage and Leverage Redemption. God, it's so fun. Imagine Robin Hood mixed with Ocean's 11. It's an excellent series, especially if you need your Noah Wyle fix after the pit. He's in Redemption, one of my all-time favorites. I've never heard of Redemption
Yeah.
or Leverage.
Heard of it and I never checked it out. It was just that, oh, that's the guy from the Librarians in ER, and then I never went to watch it.
You know, Noah Wyle was interviewed last week on NPR about the pit. It was a really fascinating interview. I'd recommend because I think the pit's great.
It's so good.
And anybody who's interested in either Noah Wyle or the pit or both or neither should listen to this interview because it was a great great interview. with
You
Noah
guys
Wyle.
watched the pit, but I'm actually doing it. I just bought Ambulance Life Paramedic Simulator on the computer. I'm
Dude, you're
actually
like
saving lives every day, buddy.
You're essentially like a doctor now.
yeah, Dr. Aura.
Yeah.
Dude, no.
Cool.
If you ever played a simulator game and they make one on the subject that you know nothing about, I just got Car Mechanic Simulator too. So some of those games are really thorough.
Wait, you got what simulator?
Car
like
mechanic.
like there's Car Mechanic because I never took auto
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool.
and so they actually make a phone device where you fix phones. They are really informative. It might be the new way of teaching
But
kids.
are
how
they
to-
actually accurate?
Can
the paramedic
can
one
you
is
fix
very
my
accurate.
screen?
Huh?
Can you fix my screen? It's pretty
He's
sad.
done it. There you go. Anonymous says, "Do y'all have any inside information on Doomsday?" Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what the reason for the RDJ of it all is. I hope Marvel has a novel idea for this. It's bold, and I want to be surprised opening night. I don't think. I know
Jonathan
there's a lot
knows.
of cynicism with it, but I really don't think they're just like just put RDJ in because people will just go. I'm sure there's a plan. Like, come on.
There's probably a plan. I still stand by. I am a little bit more on the gimmick fence though, of just you gotta tell me why. You
Tell
gotta-
me why.
Yeah, I was about to say, be a Backstreet Boy and let me know what's going on here, okay?
Rob, what say ye?
I think there's a plan.
There you go. I do too.
I think it's a good plan.
I hope so.
You know, in Civil War, some people actually saw RDJ as the villain. You know, depending on if they were on Captain America's side. So we did kind of see some people actually kind of saw RDJ playing a villain.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
We have a very emotionally vulnerable chat today. A lot of people are saying things like, "John, I hope you're happy, John, because of you, I'm staying up late and crying." People crying in the toilet, crying in bed, while binge watching The Pit. Seriously, though, what a great show. Favorite thing is there's no background music tracks. Makes the emotion feel more real and raw.
Yeah.
Have you guys been watching The Pit?
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's so intense.
I'm too busy taking calls and saving
Yeah, that's
lives.
true.
He's saving real lives.
Any non-doctors in the room
Yeah,
watching the
yeah.
Let me put it this
No,
way.
I just picked up someone
Ray, it
that,
didn't include you because you're
You're
that had a
doctor.
no. I had the first mission. You
Well.
pick up someone with a panic attack, and the stress of getting that ambulance back in time. You see
gave
their
you a
little
panic attack.
Yeah.
You see their little meters of their heart rate and
No,
stuff.
Listen, I truly can tell you're dealing with things right
Yeah.
now. Like a
The
lot
next
of
one
problems.
is like something bleeding.
The next thing you're gonna have to do is therapist simulator to get through the
To get
your
through their trauma
ambulance
from being in
trauma.
the pit.
But anyway, about the pit.
It's really well done. I mean, yeah, you feel all of the frenzy of being in the emergency room. The actual medical jargon being used is so intricate and interesting too. And I feel like sometimes when we watch other medical procedurals or other loosely scientific shows or legal shows, we get like legal ease, medical ease.
Yes.
That does not ring true. I mean, just from my own auditions, right? Particularly when I'd audition for sci-fi and they'd try to tell me a scientific thing, and I'd be like, that's not real. That's not,
Right.
that's
It's not real.
absolute gobbledygook.
If you do want to know about hospital things, I've been working on a video series since 2017
Yeah. Oh,
called
yeah.
Crisis Medicine Tactical Casualty Care
Yes.
that allows you to learn how to provide care, pre-hospital care that happens necessary in active violent events. So if you're in a shooting or a bombing, you could save your own life or other people's if you go to Tactical Casualty Care.
Yeah.
Crisis Medicine Tactical Casualty. I don't know what the URL is. Maybe it's just crisismedicine.com.
Give it a goog.
Gotta be
Been working
prepared.
on it since 2017.
Heck yeah.
We got that's cool. We got Anonymous who says, "Hi crew. Variety claims that the budget for Thunderbolts is around 200 mil. I thought it was going to be around 150, but do you think thanks to positive reviews and hoping a good cinema score will make like 600 to 700 million?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. I think it's on track for that.
I think so.
I mean, that's like what the first Doctor Strange did in the mid 600s. That's what a lot of the first time MCU movies.
And if it
did.
hit 750, that's like an absolute
That'd be
win.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's insane just to see Florence Pugh do that.
I mean,
That's
Thunderbolts-
That stunt, hell yeah.
it
I
is a
would never.
sequel to Black Widow. I mean, it is like Black Widow 2, even though they're not going to call it that. But
Wait,
it is.
Was there like some like behind the scenes thing that I just figured that was all blue screen.
Oh no!
No,
that's
no,
her
she
doing
jumped
it.
off that building.
She had to
You
just
pulled it
wear
down,
them
right,
down.
Rose?
Yeah, she wore them down because it was no, the insurance is going to be insane. We're not going to do it. And she was like, "But what if we just do?"
And so she actually that's a parachute.
That's
that she's
actually
in?
her
You see-
doing
yeah,
it.
you see the
and
video.
she, when she was on, so she'd do the stunt, and then she'd go sleep for like 3 hours because of just the shock to her body,
yeah.
and then go try the stunt and stuff.
For me, even with a glass floor, I can't get near that floor. And like,
Me too, buddy.
I start physically. I didn't know this until we visited the Canada Needle, that little needle they have.
Mm-hmm.
There's a small part where there's just a small
Yeah,
square,
in Toronto.
and you can look
Is
down.
that the CN Tower?
And
right?
people were,
Tower.
people were standing on top of it taking pictures. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And when I got close and I looked down, I physically started. I hated to know that about myself. I wanted to be able to
It's
do
a
that. I
natural
couldn't.
fear.
You
I
can
couldn't-
conquer your fear this time.
Don't go
No.
on. Don't go on the Eiffel Tower, man, because it's just steel gratings. You just look.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got dizzy at the Burbank Mall. It's 3 stories. One time, I wasn't paying attention because you know how they have the glass railings.
Thought maybe you were sweating in the.
No,
food
no,
court
no,
or
no.
something.
They have the glass railings.
Mongolian grill.
And then I was walking by it, and all of a sudden, I got vertigo or whatever. Started getting dizzy.
Oh.
I was like, "Whoa, wait!" It's so I haven't completely got rid of my fear of heights. I can ride roller coasters now. I mean, I got over that because heights was a big thing with that. But yeah, what she did in that video, I can't believe it was her.
Have you ever seen the movie Roller Coaster
Is it from the 70s?
from the 70s? It was
I feel
released
like-
in Sense Around.
Yeah, of course it was from. That's that period of like those films were made.
Well, would you be surprised to know that I own the 88 films released?
You know what's funny?
No,
It's
101,
like, it's
101,
like
88.
Rob has his inner dialogue where he's like, "Excuse me, did you ask me if I have a steelbook?"
Yeah, let me tell
like
you.
we didn't ask.
I
But
thought
you keep
that-
thinking we did.
I thought that was gonna lead to something. All
No,
that to
Roller Coaster is a great movie if you have a fear of roller.
All roads lead to Steelbook.
It's really good.
Stubble McShay.
And Lalo Schifrin did the score.
Stubble McShay says someone will throw a bucket of water in your face for the 40x experience of Miami Vice. Also, they blow like fake cocaine too, like right in your face.
This is
You're
a service
covered
that
in
Ray's going to offer.
White. Also, do you think they will focus
Regular
on
theaters.
contemporary or 80s music? I think this whole thing's gonna be contemporary.
I could see it being a lot of covers.
Yeah, well, they did that. There's a cover of "In the Air Tonight" on in Michael Mann's Miami Vice. There's some really great music. I mean, it really depends. I don't think you could if you do a Miami Vice movie. if it's a throwback, it's going to be like 21 or 22 Jump Street, but Kaczynski's doing it, so it's not going to be a parody. So I would imagine it would have to be present day, but the world has changed.
Yeah, that's why
I mean,
they
that's the
should
whole-
go back.
You know,
should
that's
maybe.
the whole thing. Miami Vice. I mean, obviously, if Dan Gilroy's writing the script, they probably got a good idea.
Yeah.
Those Gilroy boys.
They have yet.
They're
to,
everywhere.
Then they've yet to let me down.
And also, look how well I actually thought the last Beverly Hills Cop movie was great, and they went back with they kind of went back to that sort of that was Miami Vice and Beverly Hills Cop were out around the same time, or at least
Miami Vice was a year later.
yeah. So hopefully,
We got Dr. Stinky, Batman Beyond Crew, so pumped for Thunderbolts and might break my no theater rule for it. You got a no theater rule?
why?
I've had so many bad experiences with my theater and the people in Minecraft ruining theaters, so I haven't gone to a theater since Sonic 3, but I might go for Thunderbolts. You just need to go to a different theater. Although, I don't want to be insensitive to that, because
Yeah.
depending on where you live, like there are definitely areas where that could be 50 miles from you. So.
Exactly, yeah.
So I
and
understand.
I can understand it too, just because movies can be expensive and taking the time to go out there too if people are being disruptive. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that a movie is enticing you enough that you're going, maybe I'll give it another shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Getting back in the saddle.
Like we went to go see, what did we see a screening of? The horror film from PlayStation Productions, Until Dawn.
Oh, until the, yeah.
I hadn't experienced anything that really bothered me in the theater, but this viewing, there's some kid that kept getting out of his chair, not near us, but going to the hallway. I don't know if he was arguing with his girlfriend on his phone
Could have
or
been.
someone at the door, but 3 times, and his voice went over whatever we're listening, and no one said it was. I was like, does he not know that we could hear what he's yelling? You know, it was just crazy. I was like, Jesus, what are we turning into?
Yeah, people think it's their own house, their own living room. It's not.
We got Cody Hunt Films, saw a Dogma screening with Q&A Kevin Smith last night. I heard about that. First time seeing it, such a cool experience. Crowd was electric. I found out about the screening about 2 hours before from TikTok from Kevin himself.
Dang, that must
Those
have
are
been
always
so
cool when
fun.
those last minute plans you weren't.
Yeah.
You didn't know you were going to go do something, and then here you are living life.
Yeah, that's awesome. That would have been so cool to go do.
L-I-V-I-N.
Wait, you guys, any thoughts on Dogma?
I love Dogma,
I do too.
especially as a recovering Catholic. I love that film. I was joking with my friends about like all of Lent. I still like think that I'm not allowed to eat meat on Fridays because I was raised very strict like that, and the fillet of fish saved me and kept me looking like a cool normal kid.
Filet of fish, baby.
Ah man, that sandwich will always have a special part in my soul. But I love that movie. I think it's so interesting. I think it's so funny.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We got Spencer who says, "What up, Batman Beyond crew? Rob and Ray, you guys should check out the book, The Winter World by A.G. Riddle. I bet you Rob has that in Steelbook. It's a
I do
great,
not.
great space sci-fi story that is a great follow-up to those who enjoyed Project Hail Mary.
All right.
The Winter
Yeah.
World, A.G.
Let's check it
Riddle.
out.
It's a good recommendation.
Nice. Cody Hunt, I like when we don't often get novel recommendations. I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
I appreciate it.
Cody Hunt. Okay, here out my casting possibilities for Miami Vice. Michael B. Jordan and Glenn Powell.
Oh,
Okay. Actually, that already sounds great, but
That, yeah, I would watch
yeah,
that.
I'd
there
watch
might
that.
there might be a height.
I like this one, dude. You might want to become a casting
Okay,
director.
go.
Aldous Hodge, Austin Butler.
That's a good pairing
That's
too.
kind of fire, dude.
Yeah.
And a really long shot. My personal favorite would be Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd
wow.
be fun.
That would be fun, but
That
it would have
would
to be
be
a different tone because they know them.
Yeah.
Everyone knows them from.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have to
I
shake
mean,
things up.
here's the thing about. I think it would be very, very difficult. Like Michael Mann's Miami Vice was relentlessly serious, and it had one of my favorite characters, actors in it, John Ortiz, who's amazing. It was very, very serious. I think Kaczynski's shown to be a pretty serious guy, but the casting is key.
Yeah,
Can you get actors that can be? Because Miami Vice was nothing if not cool.
I got one.
But now the retroactive nature of it makes it sort of campy in a way.
Yeah.
So how do you make it? Michael Mann made a cool Miami Vice movie.
I agree with the Glenn Powell, but I believe Tubbs should be Anthony Ramos.
Well,
Would you not like that? Because it does change it a little bit, but I do like that actor. I think he would have a. No?
I don't know. 'Cause
Rather
see, the
just-
thing about Ricardo Tubbs, man, he was so cool.
You don't think
I
Anthony
think
Ramos?
Anthony Ramos could be that cool.
You'd be the cool guy, right?
Yes.
Who off the top of your head, you have anyone in
No,
your-
I think that
I think Glenn Powell,
Michael
like,
B.
would be
Jordan
great.
is a great. That's a great
Yeah.
pairing because they can be cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially, I loved Hitman. So
Okay, we got Sci-Fi Extremist. Two-parter for Rob. Do you still read current Marvel DC comics? What is your definitive era when you think about DC and Marvel Universe? For me, it's the mid-2000s because that's when I was growing up. I think that's it. He said two-parter, but I think he fit it all in.
okay, first of all, I don't unless I go back and I will buy. Like I went and got the entire Hickman era of X-Men. And it was Hickman was writing it. It was great, hit and miss. I do not buy single issues anymore. And like now going back, like Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the new Ultimate Spider-Man with really interesting. The new Absolute series from DC are interesting, and I will buy them when they come out in omnibus form. But for me, the definitive time to have been reading comic books, my formative years, so to speak, began. It was mostly throughout the 80s because it was the most innovative time in superhero comics. What got me back into reading comics again, I've told this story before, but it's very specific. I was on my paper route, and Robbie Cullen was reading Camelot 3000 #4 on his front porch, and I'm like, "What the hell's that, dude?" I picked it up and looked at it with Brian Boland art. Mike Barr wrote it. It was on Baxter paper, which I'd never seen before. And that got me back into comic books. It led me to Frank Miller's Ronin. I was reading First Comics American Flag. And I religiously went and bought comics at the comic book store for the next 25 years.
Yeah.
There's only. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Comic books were pushing culture further. Art Spiegelman's Mouse. Watchmen came out. Dark Knight Returns. Then you had Neil Gaiman's Sandman. I know.
Yeah.
But still, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. You had, and then moving into the 90s when comic books, the Image Boys, when Todd McFarlane put out Spawn, he was putting it out every month. You got it out on time. The California Style, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Jim Valentino, Will Portasio, and all those guys, man. And it was like a 20-year period that comics were for me really, really great. We are now in a repeating cycle. It's very difficult to read like superhero comics, especially. And now they're leaning in again. They're leaning into alternate stories, alternate universes, which is cool. Like that Spider-Man stuff is pretty neat. I think was Hickman writing that too. That's what I like. But I hope that answers your question.
There's only like two story arcs that I actually went to the comic book store every. When's comic release day? Was it Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that?
Wednesdays usually.
And that was World War Hulk. I was buying every new issue of that and Civil War. That was the only times I actually went and bought every single as they came out on the week. Everything else is like you. I wait for the omnibus or the story that
I
had
didn't
already
used
passed.
to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's been like 2010, 2011. I sort of abandoned flippers,
Right.
or,
Yeah.
single issues. I just did, and I started. If something was good, collect the omnibus because it comes. And I'm a fiend for hardcovers.
Yeah.
So like I just said, I just got Secret Wars and Secret Wars Battle World.
Have you seen those?
Were introduced in February.
Have you seen those like Tashin omnibuses?
Oh, they're
like
great.
$400.
Yeah,
or
they're
whatever?
fantastic.
Yeah, so cool.
I mean, the last omnibus I got was like I got the Micronauts, 3 Micronauts omnibuses. That was from the 80s.
Yeah.
Michael Golden is
Yeah, omnibuses are my book of choice if I ever wanted to hurt someone with a book. Those things are.
oh,
those things are
entertaining
bricks.
and-
look,
and
now
on
I'm waiting for
demand.
Howard Chaykin's Black Kiss omnibus. That's for you kids at home.
There you go. How big is that one? Can you kill someone with that book?
I
No.
don't know.
Give it to Ray.
Your parents will kill you if they find you reading it.
Yeah.
You're a teenager. Yeah. But
Oh, so that one's a whoop whoop one.
Whoop, whoop.
Is Black Kiss a whoop whoop? Okay.
you know what? I just would leave it for you to discover.
All right.
It's very progressive.
Sounds
the
like
kids
a whoop
today
whoop.
like it.
Dan V says, to clarify, Rotten Tomatoes removed the overall rating with averaging all of the review ratings together. That's what is missing. You only
okay.
get those in the Metacritic, which never counted all of the
Oh, I
RT
see.
Critics reviews, and is a what?
69, dude!
Average currently out of 36 reviews. Rotten Tomatoes has 95. Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you.
And that's
That's
all
all
of
of them?
our
You got a soundbite for
questions.
that.
All right. Well, great. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate you. Before we boogie, hey, Rob, do you have anything you want to plug or share with the people?
Well, I do have something I want to plug that you're in. Of course, people might know that I spent the last year creating an audio drama. It's a 10-chapter audio drama that stars fan favorites like Michael Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor from Smallville, Katie Sackhoff from Longmire and Battlestar Galactica, people like Bill Sadler, who played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and was the villain in Die Hard 2, and of course, our own Chris Carr as Marianne Beam, who is the co-star of the show along with Michael Rosenbaum, and she's actually fantastic in the show. So you can go to truenoir.co and support the show right now for a very small fee, and it's worth it. If you like audio dramas, it's like nothing you've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And yourself?
Yeah. Oh, also make sure you're subscribed to Robservations.
Subscribe to the Burnett Work and my
Yeah.
show Robservations and all
Absolutely.
of those kinds of things.
As for me, if you want to get more of me, you can listen to my podcast I do with Amy Newman, the hilarious Amy Newman. Two Filthy Casuals is our podcast. You can check that wherever you get your podcasts. And then if you want to learn about voiceover, I've got a new intro to VO class coming up, you guys. It's going to start next week. It's 4 weeks. We're going to talk to you about animation, commercials, and video games. My husband's got a breath class. And then my buddy Raul Ceballos, who is Speedy Gonzalez on Bugs Bunny Builders. He's a bloater in Last of Us 2. He does so much voiceover work. May 1st, he's doing an animation intensive. So head on over to speakfriendstudio.com and you can find out all about our classes there. Yeah.
That's amazing,
Perfect.
actually.
I have nothing to promote because, as I told you, I work in the shadows.
You work
Chris.
in the shadows. You're Batman.
So,
you don't just make
I
Batman. You
am
are
not
Batman.
speaking anything.
That's fine.
Zadu.
I also have an audio drama coming out. It's a murder mystery with the Bluey characters called Blue Noir. Check it out.
I would watch that so much.
It's actually really good.
That's really wonderful.
I don't know. I'll see you guys
The
tomorrow.
murder victim was
We're
killed
here
by
all
a
week.
blunt object. It's much like a book.
There was a bad Fluffy, and they all got dusted by it. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We can't do the show without you. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Whoop, whoop.
Bye.